Welcome to Entitled Parents, where a business is almost shut down because they stopped child abuse. This story is from Asian Stranger, where their parents' business is reviewed bombed because they stood up to child abuse. My parents' small business is being review bombed because I stood up to a child abuser. Hi. My parents have owned a small Chinese restaurant for the past 25 years. Recently, I spent a day working there as a waiter, and a big party of 11 people came in with their children. Their children were pretty rowdy and running around on top of our benches. I politely asked the parents to calm their children down as they were causing a disturbance and could hurt themselves. The parents made a half-hearted attempt to calm them down, but the children returned to running around on the benches. Unfortunately, one of their kids fell and hit his head. The child was stunned, holding his head, and looked like he was in massive pain. Others came to his care as well as his mother, but the father told his child to get over it and to suck it up when the child started crying, all while he attempted to rush out the door. He didn't even try to look after his kid when he got hurt. I watched all of this silently until the father was pushing his kid to get out of the restaurant. At that point, I had enough and told the father he could try being more empathetic to his child. He told me to mind my own business, and I continued to repeat how his child had just hurt himself and that he needed attention rather than neglect. The father just kept repeating mind your own business as his friends and family were holding him back from approaching me. I was behind the front counter the whole time. I spoke sternly and never swore. I tried to be as professional as I could while trying to make my point. Now they're review bombing my parents' restaurant, and I can't help but think it was all my fault. I've tried responding as the business with context, but they keep deleting their review whenever I respond, and they keep writing new ones saying that I deleted their reviews. Is there anything I can do to prevent review bombing? I don't want my parents to suffer because of my actions. Thank you for any responses. Here is the context I replied with for the review's context. This customer's child fell and hit his head. He was stunned and was holding his head. He looked like he was in a lot of pain. The father's response was to tell his child to get over it, suck it up, and to rush out of the door because he wanted to get home, all while the child was not responding to him and others were coming to his care instead of his own parent. The mother did rush over. Our waiter asked the father to be more empathetic to his child, who had just hurt themselves in a confrontational, but in no way physical or aggressive manner. Yes, our waiter did become confrontational, but he was in no way physically or aggressively towards the customer. Our waiter stood behind the counter at all times and did not swear. He spoke sternly to the man, asking him to be more empathetic to his child. The man had to be held back by his friends and family from approaching our waiter. The customers were also previously warned by our waiter not to let their kids run around on top of our benches, as it could be dangerous. The parents made an attempt to tell them to stop, but sometime later, the children were back to playing on the benches and unfortunately hurt themselves. You did the right thing by speaking up for the child who was hurt. It's important to show empathy and concern when someone is in pain, especially a child. However, you could have approached the situation differently. Instead of repeating your point to the father, you could have calmly explained the situation to him, emphasizing the importance of caring for his child's well-being. As for the review bombing, it's unfortunate that the customers are retaliating in such a way. It might be helpful to address their concerns privately, if possible, and apologize for any inconvenience caused. This story is from Draugr Can Talk, where they got blamed for not working during holidays. Lady blamed her son's behavior on me because I don't work during holidays. Context: I have 2 jobs. I'm a bartender on the main, and then for some easy side hustling, I teach electric guitar. I have 4 students, all varying in age. I charge based on income, so basically, the less you earn, the less I charge, etc. One of my students is a kid just going into his late teens. He's smart and pretty talented. He loves rockabilly, even though I'm not a big fan, and I taught him all the basics and then some. His mom is a lawyer, and she's, lack of a better term, effing loaded. In fact, she offered to pay 20 an hour for reference. The other 3 average around 5-10 an hour. So I was like, hell yeah, long story short, due to my main work getting busier during Halloween and Christmas. I usually take October through mid-November off, and then take the second half of December off. So I work the entire year, but just so I can recharge, take those off to focus on my other job, family, mental health, etc. I have this directly stated on all sites where I advertise my teaching: Etsy, Facebook, Insta, and I explain that unless half joking, half serious, you're paying hella good, or you're asking me to teach the next Van Halen, then I'll be largely unavailable. To make up for this, I record custom videos for my students, 1 per week. So, let's call her M. M is the lawyer I was talking about. She messaged me on Insta saying she recommended me to her friend, which I really appreciated. She said, they need you now. They're offering 4 an hour and an extra 8 if I do it tomorrow. Lol doesn't cut it. I explained that's way below what I'd accept as payment if I were to just come out of work. Plus, it would be unfair to my other students. She then said I was unprofessional and blamed her kid's new angsty attitude on my lessons. I've had to unfortunately leave her on read. Engel, I don't know what to do, but for now, guess the kid's not learning the rest of race with the devil. You did the right thing by sticking to your boundaries and refusing the low payment offer. It's important to value your time and expertise. However, it might have been better to communicate with M more clearly about your availability and pricing from the start. It's unfortunate that M blamed you for her kid's attitude, but sometimes you encounter difficult people. Keep focusing on your other students and providing them with the best learning experience possible. This story is from an actual mud pup, where her mother-in-law photoshopped her wedding photos. Update: my mother-in-law photoshopped my husband's nose on our wedding pictures. Hey dudes, I'm back. Thank you to everyone who took the time to offer me advice on my last post. First of all, I want to clarify that not telling my husband what his mother did was never an option. She wouldn't remove the pictures from her house unless I either told him or threatened her. Had I done the latter, she could use that against me in the future or even imply I agreed with her. Plus, he was bound to find out at some point, and I knew it would be better if it came from me. I asked how to do it, not whether I should. So I sat him down last Saturday and broke the news. I explained what the pictures were and Mill's excuses for them. I also showed him the texts she'd sent me since my visit. The whole conversation, I was calm and straightforward, but made it very clear that not only did Mill's actions completely disgust me, but I never agreed with her about his appearance. He's the most gorgeous man I've ever met, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with his nose. I also made sure to point out that the photoshopped nose made him look like front-facing Phineas from Phineas Ferb, and Mill needs to get her eyes checked if she really thought it looked good. I thought the news would hurt him, and I was right. He didn't cry or anything, but I could see it in his face. The odd but common combination of disappointment and acceptance. He knew his mother wouldn't change, but still had some hope. It was almost heartbreaking to watch. But for the first time in a while, he seemed to believe me when I said his nose was normal. He told me that now that he knew just how ridiculous Mill was willing to be, her opinion meant a lot less to him. So even though he's hurt, he feels stronger than ever. As many of you suggested, I told him that he was free to approach the situation however he pleased, but I don't want to be around his mother anymore. Most importantly, I don't want her around our son or any other kids we might have. Not only because of the guilt-tripping tantrums that have become her standard behavior, but also because of the way she treats the people she's supposed to love. I know she loves her family, but I doubt she knows how love works. If she's willing to treat her sons like this, I fully expect her to be even worse to her grandchildren. In the end, my husband and I decided we're going very LC with Mill until the holidays. Some of his relatives are throwing a party the week before Christmas, and she'll be there. We thought about skipping it, but he has cousins he hasn't seen in years coming for the party. He's been looking forward to seeing them for months, and it doesn't feel fair to let Mill ruin his excitement. After the holidays, we'll decide how to proceed. Regardless, she won't be allowed to see our son at the hospital when he's born. And once we bring him home, she won't be left alone with the baby. It doesn't matter how much she tries to improve. That is not something we're willing to budge on. In spite of everything, my husband doesn't want to cut ties with his mother, and I understand that. Even if he wanted to, he can't go fully NC without cutting off the rest of his maternal family as well, which he is firmly against. What works best for now is to treat her like Domino's Pizza she exists, and that's fine, but we're not getting involved until she actually improves. I also decided to tell some of my own family about this, and everyone I've talked to agrees that Mill went over the line. My father is a narcissist who I'm mostly LC with due to his entitled behavior most recently. He tried to make me disinvite his ex from my wedding so he could bring his mistress, and even he was offended on my husband's behalf. And if even my mediocre, respect your elders father thinks your children are right about you being in butthole, you've probably gone too far. We talked to my Bill, and he's the one who informed Mill of our decision. She didn't take the news well. She's now trying to call both me and my husband, and keeps texting apologies and promises to take the pictures down. We're ignoring her. Bill visited her yesterday, and apparently the pictures are gone. She believed that was enough for us to forgive her, but he clarified that there is still a lot of work that needs to be done. Before anyone calls us dramatic, this isn't just about the Photoshop. This is about the damage she's caused in both her sons' lives. I was abused in a similar fashion in my teens by Dad's ex, and I refuse to allow my child to grow up believing he's anything less than beautiful. Same goes for my husband. That's all. Again, thank you guys. You handled the situation well by sitting down with your husband and calmly explaining the situation. It's important that he heard the truth from you, rather than finding out from someone else. It's understandable that he was hurt, but it's great to see that he's starting to believe in himself more and not let his mother's opinion affect him as much. Setting boundaries with your mother-in-law is a wise decision, especially when it comes to protecting your son and any future children you may have. It's good that you and your husband have decided to go low contact with her for now. Attending the family party to see his cousins is a fair compromise. It's clear that you both want to prioritize your son's well-being and ensure that he grows up feeling loved and accepted. It's also important that you've shared the situation with your own family for support. Overall, you're doing what's best for your family and standing up against the damage your mother-in-law has caused. This story is from Disappointed Shrew, where a Karen gets mad at them for not giving a pass on breaking laws. Entitled Dad gets upset at me for not letting him break the law. I sell archery gear, and bow hunting is highly regulated here. Only pest species are allowed to be hunted, nothing native. This guy calls up, and the following conversation occurs. See, hi, I just moved here, and I want to buy a bow to hunt snakes. Me, okay, I should probably tell you that that it's illegal, I know. but I still want to do it. He knows it's illegal, but still asked. Red flag alert me. I can't sell you equipment if I know you're going to use it to break the law. See, fine, whatever. I'm not going to hunt snakes with it. Me, but you are. You already said you are. At this point, the customer knows he already messed up by telling me his intentions. See, well, how can I move forward with this? My recommendation is to contact your local pest control services for snake removal if you're having a snake problem. See, no, I mean, how can I move forward with buying a bow from you? I'm not selling you anything that I know will be used to break the law. See, I know they're a protected species, but I have to protect my kids. I have the right to protect them from dangerous wildlife. They're a protected species for a reason. You don't have the right to harm them just because they're dangerous, and I cannot condone the behavior you're advocating for. There are legal ways to deal with this problem. See, oh, Mr. High and Mighty over here. You sell equipment knowing that it'll be used to harm innocent Bambis, but a dangerous snake is crossing the line. You're a hypocrite. Hunting deer is legal because they are a pest species that destroys native flora and fauna, and they need to be culled as they have no natural predators here. Snakes live here natively and are an important part of the ecosystem. In this circumstance, you're the deer, a dangerous pest species that is a threat to the native wildlife. See, my kids come first, and you and the government for protecting snakes. None of you can tell me WH-80 to do, and no law is going to stop me from goodbye. At that point, I hung up. I understand the desire to protect your kids, but his entitled attitude in complete disregard for the law is unsettling. You are absolutely right in standing your ground and refusing to sell the bow to someone who openly admits they will use it for illegal hunting. It is important to prioritize the protection of native species and adhere to regulations. While I understand the concern for your children's safety, there are legal and ethical ways to address the issue, such as contacting pest control services. The customer's entitled attitude and disrespect for the law are concerning and justify your decision to end the conversation.
Thank you for watching. What did you think of today's stories? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed it, like and subscribe because I post Reddit stories every day.